Black pie. Nobody hear me?
We can hear you, brother.
How are you?
Chuma's gonna start in
good.
2 minutes.
Black Power, brother Ajabu. It's Renee.
Hey, Renee, how you been, sister lady?
I'm good. I'm good.
Well, it's always good to hear your voice.
Thank you very much. Yours as well.
We're getting started in
Thank
2
you,
minutes.
thank you.
Okay,
All right.
Mr.
Can I help you?
On you, Sister Chuma.
Okay. All right, Black Power, everybody. I'm Sister Chuma. I'm the National Minister of Culture. Tonight we're gonna have a mighty good time kicking off the Black Liberation School. So what I want to do is I want to introduce to you an elder from Indianapolis. This particular elder I've learned to really kind of enjoy. I heard him on the show the other day, and he has a lot of wisdom and a lot of information to share with us. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce him and let him tell us a little bit about himself. Hey, Elder, how you doing?
I'm good, sis. How you doing?
I'm well. Brother
Ajabu? Looking well. Yes, Ajabu. Ajabu.
Ajabu. You know, I was practicing, and I got it wrong.
No,
it's a lot of power behind that name.
It still sound good.
Huh?
It still sounded good. I'd get in there and ask you if you sung. Well, that sounded like music to me.
Listen, if I did, trust and believe, we'll be very rich right now. Because that's all I do is sing.
Alrighty. Okay.
So how you this evening?
I'm blessed by the best. How you doing?
I'm well. How's the weather up there?
Good. Cold. It was warmer earlier, but it chilled down. I was back with a couple of fellas, and shoot, they cut home and I cut in. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little chilly here. But now, where are you?
I'm in Virginia. I'm in what they call the Tidewater area, which is like 7 cities. So I live in one of the 7 cities here in the Tidewater area.
Oh, and what does that mean, that you have floods or something, or what?
Oh yeah, all over.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, keep that there.
Good thing I know how to swim, huh?
I swear.
Okay, so I wanted to introduce our other guests. We have Mukasa Dada on the line. Did I get you right? Did I get you right?
Mukasa, yeah, I'm his daughter, Inania.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
coming. There he is.
Okay.
Hello, Africans. I'm on there.
Yeah, you on the
So
sound.
you had to let her introduce you the correct way, huh?
Oh, yeah.
That's how y'all do. Y'all know y'all got it going on like that.
Oh, yeah, we got to come in style.
I know that's right. I didn't see the red carpet though. Where the red carpet go?
I put it on your head.
Oh, okay, I got you.
It's on your head.
All right, so I got two of my favorite elders on tonight. How y'all doing this evening?
We good.
Okay. Okay, well look, we got some interesting topics to talk about tonight. We got a broad audience, so we're looking forward to hearing from what you guys both have to say. So I'm gonna start off. I don't know who wants to kick off first, but I'm gonna start with you, Elder Mukasa. I want to know, how did you feel about what's the importance of starting our own schools, our own nationalist schools, Black nationalist schools, excuse me.
Well, all people have to educate themselves, and all people that have ideals have to have an institution to develop those ideals into people. So schools are very important if you want people to learn, think, and develop. We always need a form of education, especially revolutionary education. So schools are very important, and that's historically. And every nation, every revolutionary group, every movement have schools. So schools are very important to educate and direct your people and develop your people.
Okay, so with that being said, what do you think is like the first step that we need to do to kind of like introduce that concept into our communities, because we are pretty much the only nation of people that really don't educate our own children. And I'm sorry, I used to belong to a homeschooling group several years ago, and it was just a challenge trying to get the sisters to educate their own children. You know what I'm saying? To kind of like have a collective of our own educational systems, right? But what I realized was that a lot of us utilize these systems as really daycare, you know, because when you homeschool a child, you're so overwhelmed with having to take care of the child and, you know, cook and clean and whatever, that these school systems actually give you a break from having to be with your children 24/7. So I think that's part of the reason why we're so scared to kind of move. I'm not saying that's the whole reason, but I think that's part of the reason why we're scared to move on creating our own school system. So what do you think about that?
Well, yeah, you're right. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of networks of people who have independent schools and homeschool systems operating. So there are many probably groups that's educating as independent schools, and there are groups that's educating as homeschooling networks. And I know a couple of them.
Okay,
and they're doing it.
like,
So it has to be done. And matter of fact, we should do it everywhere. Matter of fact, I not only should, another thing we have to think about, even when you go and educate, the people that's educating, they have to be educated too. And that we need some form of education committee that will begin to lay out a curriculum for the revolutionaries. All of us should begin to have books of revolutionary information in our hands at all times too, because we have to be educated. In order to educate others, you definitely have to be educated, and that we need some form of ideology and link with other revolutionary ideologies that's out here around the world, and that there are other groups that like it. PAIGC in Guinea-Bissau, that's a revolutionary group, but they got all forms of education for the masses of the people and youth and groups and whatever. And we have to begin to expose ourselves to those kind of groups and people. And then you got a lot of revolutionary movements in the world. We have to expose ourselves to them. Well, that's part of our education, is being able to link to African people around the world and to revolutionary countries and learn the philosophy of revolutionaries like Castro, and learn what is actually happening, information direct from places like Venezuela, what is going on with the revolutionary forces in Mali and Chad and throughout Africa, and looking at people who have taught us, like Malcolm, Kwame Nkrumah, Lumumba, Sekou Touré, Mao Zedong, the Chinese Revolution. And that's what our education will lean toward, I think.
Okay, yeah, and you know what? I definitely agree, because I didn't learn in the traditional Americanized, westernized education system. Our heroes was like Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, pretty much, you know, maybe a little Frederick Douglass sprinkled in there, but nothing about like Nat Turner, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, you know what I'm saying, Lumumba, anybody else that made a dent. Even like the Haitian Revolution was not ever mentioned. And I didn't learn a lot of this information until I was, you know, almost graduated from high school, and I stumbled upon it just by the associations that I had. Because even like, for example, right, I have a cousin, she's married to Malcolm X's nephew. And so, or she was married to his nephew. And I had no idea who Malcolm X, and you know, her brother used to say, you know, Gloria married to Malcolm X's nephew. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I didn't know who Malcolm X was till I saw the movie. So now I'm like, dang, I'm that close to his bloodline, and I had no idea. You see what I'm saying? The importance, and even my cousins that are in relation to him, they still really don't even know much about him themselves. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
it just kind of behooves me at this point, like how we don't have that information. So you're right, we definitely need to incorporate this information,
and we need
within our
African,
community.
and we need African history, and we
Absolutely.
have to go deep down into African history and look at our history and all the positive forces and institutions and development that Africa has gone through, and look at all our people who have been misplaced in diaspora places, who they are, who the strugglers are, what are they going through, and begin to educate ourselves to who we are, where we come from, and where we have to go. And we have to begin to look at our stumbling blocks, those forces that's in our way, those forces that oppress us, those forces that control our thinking and control the systems and what have you that oppresses us. And we have to be those educated. And as we educate the few people you have on the internet, that's now we had school called the Pan-African Work Center. And we also had a Malcolm X Liberation University. And we educated people on the college levels, and people left white colleges and high schools, and they came to Malcolm X Liberation University. and we taught them about revolution and what have you, same with the kids. So that's what our independent schools were created to do, and to be the link to the movement, and hopefully kids will come out and have that connection. And you have a few right now. You have Malcolm X grassroots movement have a school. People in the school, they have a school called Kalimo for whatever. I think it's Kalima, whatever. But they got a school, and then they got a group called African Scouts, where they deal with children and what have you. And there are many groups out here that deal with children. And then you got in these churches, they got youth groups and whatever. And sometimes we have to go inside those things and go along with some of what they're saying, but teach the children and the people in there about Africa. We got to make as friends as widely as we can to teach them about revolution. And hopefully even Malcolm, even the Black Panther Party, we can link them up with Venezuela. I hope we get some trips to Venezuela for some of the people, Cuba, and then maybe go to Africa, Guinea-Bissau, and link up with people that's in revolution. Because the Black Panther Party, a new Black Panther Party, is based on liberation movement. And we have to make sure that they all link together and begin to exchange ideas and philosophies and methods of educating the people in the party, in their organization, and to give information to the mass.
So what do you think that we would need to do to kind of bridge the different schools? Because like you named a few. Now I do believe I'm familiar with the African Scouts, because I think they're around Georgia or somewhere. That
in
right?
Georgia, different parts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do to kind of get that connection between them? Because it's a lot of these educational bases that they don't really know each other. So I think it should be like a network where it should be some level of, being able to, if not anything else, refer. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're in that area, I can refer you down there. You know what I'm saying? Something like that.
We have to work together at some point. But I think now the first step here is to continue to try to develop the schools that the new Black Panther, or school that the new Black Panther is trying to put together. And that by them putting that together, that would be a step in terms, at least you'd be stepping into the forces that have schools. And then you talk about unity as you go, but first develop the one and the idea that you're talking about you have for a school.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna ask you one more question before I go on to the other elder. But what do you think, like, as far as how, as we create our curriculum, right? What do you think would be a good direction or a good foundation for us to make sure that we kind of keep it solid as we build?
Keep it solid?
Keep it solid.
What do you mean?
Well, you know how historically and generationally, when the momentum's there, the feeling's good, everybody's like, boom, 100. You know what I'm saying? But again, with us dealing with us, sometimes we like to fizz out or lose interest. I think, sometimes when it comes to the movement, we have a case of ADHD. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it just kind of like, you lose the excitement for it. What do you think that we should do, or what do you think is a good avenue to kind of keep that fire burning? You know what I'm saying?
But let's keep educated and educating people about revolution, about Africa, about struggle and what have you. And that would inspire the people. Now, when I had our school, we did it two ways. The Pan-African Work Center. We linked up with other schools, the other people that had similar schools, and formed a network of independent Black schools. I think that's what it was called. And then we got together with the schools and created a curriculum. And from your revolutionary philosophy, that will be part of a curriculum too. And by having these schools, having a school that, let's go back to it. We had about 20 children in our school, in the daytime. But in the evening, we lived in a neighborhood. About 100 kids came in the evening. And we talked to them about Africa and everything every day. They came to our school. But if we went out to, one of the ways we educated in the neighborhood, we looked at the needs of people. We had to talk to people about unity, to grown people, because they were shooting each other in the neighborhood. We had talked to them about Africa and brotherhood and Black power and those kinds of things. And then one of the things we did, we got some hoes and went out and dug garden shovels and dug garden picks and dug gardens in folks' yard. And they appreciated that. And we created a friendship, family relationship in the whole neighborhood. But you just have to go in and work your way. If you're in a neighborhood, you start out with a few children, and then you work your way in the neighborhood through different projects that will come up, different needs that you will see in that neighborhood, or the people will present you to. Like when the Black Panther got started, they went out there with guns to defend African people from police brutality.
Right.
But when they got out there, they were out there looking good, and they wanted to tell the community about it. So they started talking to the children and had a little meeting with different people come to the meeting, and they saw people were hungry. Children were hungry. So that gave them the idea. So, we need a breakfast program. They tried that, and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
And before you know it, children, they do that breakfast in the morning, and shoot, the kid double, more children than they could feed would come, and everybody would love that. And the mamas was accepting to the Black Panther because they feeding children.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have been fed. So you win over parents and friends and whatever. But schools and institutions are very important. And hopefully we'll be able to say to all our people, forms, well, people could think about doing it now, and people are doing, they got all kinds of thousands of people doing homeschooling. They got some very good people on the internet teaching children and whatever. But you be joining into a force of people that's already there, and hopefully they'll make a great contribution to you. And as you put it together, I hope down the line, your contribution will be in terms of your philosophy and ideology and objective that you represent will be a contribution to them.
Okay.
And we want to give everybody a revolution. We want to, we're part of the revolution. So even with these schools, we want to introduce them to revolution, to struggle, to the love of our people, to unity, and show them different greatness of our people in different parts of the world and different levels of their struggles, and even show them the monsters that's messing with our people and hurting our people, like imperialism and capitalism and colonialism that caused the problem to our people. So once you start serving the people, they'll show you a lot of what they need. Like I've heard the people being out there and they end up having drug problems, and some of the people, Matulu, Shakur, I think they got into acupuncture and all kinds of things, but the struggle will dictate to you different things that people need.
Okay. Well, we're gonna turn our attention to our other elder up there in Indianapolis. How you doing?
I'm great. Always when I'm in the company of you and Dr. Mukasa, I mean, what better company could there be?
I know that's right. We count down the days till we come up there and pay you another visit.
Come on.
Looking for you, looking.
So I'm gonna ask you the
But
same question.
I wanted to go back to your initial question,
Okay.
which was why do we need African Liberation School?
Uh-huh.
Dr. Collett used to always say, he said, if they won't treat you right, why you think they're gonna teach you right? And
Absolutely.
yeah, so it is imperative for us to teach ourselves, because the schools that we would send our children to have a history of enslaving us. So if you sending our children to a school whose people who's running the school have a history of enslaving us, why do you think that they would teach us how to become free when they are getting resources and they're getting value from our next to free and at the one time free labor? So it's mandatory for us to teach ourselves. You ask, where should we start? Well, we should start with who we are. I was in Chicago yesterday, and I visited the Hampton House. And the Hampton House sits right across the street from a middle school. I'm talking to the people that's at the Hampton House, and they're saying that the children who are of African descent that go to this school are not taught about Fred Hampton. Now they are right across the street, a stone's throw away from very significant history for people of African descent, and it's lessons of how the system actually killed a man because he wanted to be free, and he was willing to give his life for those children that's at that school to not be oppressed, to be over there learning about Santa Claus and Christopher Columbus, discovered America, lying, and all of this rich history across the street is not being taught. Well, that's by design. Again, if they won't treat you right, why do you expect them to teach you right? And they're not teaching us right. And we shouldn't expect them to teach us right, because that's our job. We shouldn't be looking for somebody else to do that which we ought to be doing for ourselves. The education of our children is our job. And we have to be open, just like Mukasa is stating, that when a lesson teaches ourselves, if the students coming through to the school are hungry, well, we can't expect them to learn and they hungry. They ain't worried about no book. They worried about their stomach.
Right.
So if exactly. So if we see that, then the first lesson that the Panthers taught us was to start a breakfast program so that you can get them in the right frame of mind to get the information that's been shared. The right frame of mind is through their stomachs. And if they're coming up in there and they got health problems, then we got to learn that lesson. They're teaching us what they need to be taught. So we need to come up with health facilities and health care so that we can take care of ourselves. We don't need to be looking to other people to do that, which we ought to be doing for ourselves. So why do we need our own African Liberation School? Is because nobody can teach us about us like we will teach ourselves.
You're correct, because when my daughter was in middle school, now where I live, well, at the time I was living in Surrey County. So you all may not be familiar with Surrey County, Virginia, but that's actually the same county where Mike Vick got in all that trouble. You know what I'm saying? Because I used to, at that time, I lived like a few doors down from where he was at. And this was around the time actually when he got in trouble there. But anyway, so So in Surrey County, they no longer recognize Black History Month because they didn't want to offend the white children. Now, mind you, Surrey County is a predominantly Black county. The school system is predominantly Black ran. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody that grows up there, they go to college and come back and teach in the school system. So so they told my daughter, they was like, well, you know, pick a, because they don't call it Black History Month anymore. They call it Humanitarian Month. And so they was like, well, pick a humanitarian to do a report on. So I told my daughter she doing a report on Marcus Garvey, you know, and so the teacher was like, well, you know, he's not really a humanitarian. Pick somebody else, huh? Right? So I said, I'll do you a favor, right? We'll go ahead. We'll do Bob Marley. So she says, well, Bob Marley is not a humanitarian. I said, all right, well, we're gonna do Ziggy then. Because if you Google Ziggy, that's all you see, you know? And so she was like, no, because he promotes marijuana. So what I'm going to do is, since you all can't pick one, I'm going to go ahead and pick one for you, and that's Michelle Obama. You know, this was around the time I think, you know, yeah, that Obama had won presidency or whatever. And I was like, I told her, I said, you can't pick and choose who we look up to, our heroes. You know what I'm saying? I don't have anything against Michelle Obama, but she's not my first choice. You know what I'm saying? Because my children going to learn who their ancestors are and who paved the way for them. And so what ended up happening was, you know, I had to take it all the way to the school board and file a complaint for her to be able to do the report originally on Marcus Garvey. So by the time they had went through the process, she had already missed the report, so she automatically got like 20 points or something taken off anyway. So my whole point to telling you that is that's one instance. The same year, she had a math teacher, right? And so the math teacher.
Can I tell you? Chuma?
Yeah.
Can I interact with what you just shared with us?
Go ahead.
Because what you just shared with us is very important. See, if you are working for a system and you are doing what the system is designed to do, which is to keep our wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of self away from us, then it makes no difference whether you're Black, white, Jew, or Gentile. You're doing what the system is designed to do. And that's what you were saying. The system was designed to keep your children away from our knowledge about Marcus Garvey, our knowledge about Bob Marley, our knowledge about Ziggy, and it is designed to teach us about Michelle Obama, because Michelle Obama ain't about a revolution. She's about sustaining the system that actually is suppressing us. So again, you're making the point of why would we send our children to a school system that has a history of enslaving us and expect them to teach us how to be free? If they won't treat you right, they ain't going to teach you right. And so if we mature and understand that the responsibility of our children to be taught is ours, then we'll honor our responsibility and carry out our responsibility and teach our children. I wouldn't care what that teacher said at the white people's school, even though it's predominantly Black. But it's a white system. And that white system is designed to oppress Black children, Black people. So we can't buy into that. There's no need of us helping people to oppress us because we follow the guidelines that they say that we should follow. Another case in point. The system says that if we vote, then we'll get free. Well, the system is designed to oppress us. You can't use the decision, the system solution to be free because you know they lying to you. And I'm not saying don't vote, but I'm saying don't think that your voting is going is going to end up with us being free of oppression. It's not. You might be able to appoint somebody that's a little easier on you in the oppression, but if they are part of the system and the system is doing what the system is designed to do, then the system is going to oppress us. We've got to change the system.
Absolutely.
That was the point that I got out of the experience that you shared about your child doing a report, a humanitarian report that does not allow you to pick and choose the hero and shero that you want your children to know about.
Absolutely.
That.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well,
you were going to share another experience.
Yeah, you know, that same year,
Can you hear me?
her history teacher was saying that slavery wasn't so bad. This is what she actually told the class, right? She said slavery wasn't so bad because you got free rent.
Wow, Lord, help
free
me.
rent and healthcare or something. She said, I don't remember exactly what she said verbatim, but when my daughter came home and told me that, I went plumb off. I went off. And I mean, I went on so bad that woman grabbed her stuff and never came back. But how dare you tell my child that?
Right. I think Mukasa had something to say. Mukasa, did you have something to say?
Can you hear me now?
There you go. We got you.
Yes.
Okay. I think Marcus Garvey was the wrong humanitarian, even though he's a humanitarian, all that kind of stuff. But he was the wrong one for Virginia. Nat Turner's the only humanitarian I knew that was around Virginia. Nat Turner was a great one. And that we have to continue to teach about Nat Turner and the great work that he did. And that's what we're saying. That's why all the things that you're raising have already been determined, that colonialist education going to teach you about colonialism and not allow you to be taught about yourself. And that's why people have already made the decisions that we need independent schools and we need independent everything. And so we have to begin to get educated and begin to teach our people, everybody, about all the different revolutionaries and all the great historic and all the things that we need to know. And we should, all the independent schools, when the kids get of a certain age, should end up in Cuba, in medical school, and train and let them get the rest of their training from Cuba, because Cuba would make doctors out of them, and Cuba would give them the revolutionary knowledge and information that they need to go on with. And that's our problem. We're under colonialism, we're under censorship, and our people have no information and no knowledge of self. And they're trying to take all the knowledge we can have about Africa and take that away from us also. But that's why we're putting together independent institutional revolutionaries, because we want to teach the people about revolution. We want to teach the people about who we are, and we cannot look to our enemies, look to the system to do that for us. They're not going to work for us. We have to work for us. That's
Absolutely.
why we got to encourage everybody. Hopefully, we'll have a little school in every community where any conscious people are. We'll be teaching, even if the school is under a tree, on a basketball court. And now early on in SNCC, SNCC, we had freedom schools. And our freedom schools were in basement of churches, on back porches, under trees. and what have you. And from these freedom schools, we taught a lot of stuff, songs of freedom and what have you, but it encouraged them to go out and face bombs, dogs, guns, jails, and even burn down the cities at a certain point, or pick up guns, encourage a group like the Panthers to be formed and many other groups. So when we said Black Power back in the day, we didn't just say Black Power in a meeting. We said it on the streets. And when we said Black Power, cities started burning down, and there was war. And through that, a new conscience arise and coming up. And that's what we have to do. And we have to educate our people that we are under attack and show people what the United States trying to do in Ethiopia right now, what they're doing in the Congo, what colonialism and imperialism is doing in South Africa right now, and what it's doing around the world in every community we live in. We're under censorship, we're hungry, we're eating the worst foods, or we're living with roach rats and prison industrial complex and all that. And we would be free to teach everything once we began to put together an educational project, freedom school, if you want to call it, Black Panther School, Freedom School, Liberation School, we used to call them. And once you began to put that out there, that's just a source and a means of educating people. Our people need to be educated. Our people need knowledge of self, knowledge of history, knowledge of struggle, knowledge of revolution, knowledge of their greatness.
Absolutely.
And
Now,
one
when
thing,
go ahead.
yeah, and one thing that we need to study is our progress toward freedom. When you look at the Black Panther Party and SNCC, there was an issue of relationship to white folks. When you talk about that relationship, historically, it has divided us. John Lewis, he didn't like Kwame Ture theology or philosophy because it excluded white folks. And he was talking that humanitarian talk. We're all humans, and so we're all of the human race. We ought to be able to get along. Yeah, that's true philosophically, but realistically, whites, and at one time, damn near all of them, was opposed to us existing on the equal keel with them. Now, I've been wrestling, and I'm throwing this out here, and I've talked to Mukasa about it a little bit. I've been wrestling with looking at the situation, as if I can use as an example, the situation in Dallas. A white boy that came to a McDonald's and pulled a gun out on a brother because he wants a soda with his Big Mac. He didn't order a soda with his Big Mac. When he gets to the door and says, hey, I want a soda and I'll pay you, the cat says, no, you can't get a soda. And the brother says, I don't like the service. And so the cat pulls a gun on him. The new Black Panther Party in Dallas said, oh, this is unacceptable. We're going to shut you down. The number of customers, there's more white folks as customers than there is black folks. So if you're going to shut the McDonald's down by having customers not buying at the store, then you got to rely on some white folks not to go up in there. Now, it looks like that there are white folks not going up in there. So I would say that we would not be mad at them for supporting our liberation, even though we do not embrace them to be in our leadership or in our influence as to decide what we ought to do in order to relieve our oppression. If we understand that we are at war, then we got to use all benefit to our benefit. And
Okay.
even though if there is a clash, and I've seen this, and there's so-called good white folks, it's going to be hard to determine the good white folks from the bad white folks, because they all look the same. You know, so when excuse me, when the clash comes,
Mhm.
there might be some collateral damage. Some who are supposedly good is going to get caught up in the action. And I actually saw that here in Indianapolis when a police officer beat up a brother in a youth in the alley with his hands cut behind him. The community went off. There was a white boy in a little old convertible who came up and stopped, and they started beating him in the head. And I asked him, why you stopped? He said, the light's red. I said, you damn fool. He gonna take a whipping in the head because the light red. You know, so I'm saying that to say, and he ain't had nothing to do with the young boy getting killed, getting beat up in the alley, but because he was white, he was a target. I'm saying that we got to be able to use whoever we can use in order to liberate ourselves. But when it comes to the fight, you can't be looking at any of them white folks as being right. What do you think about that?
I mean, I definitely agree with what you're saying, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stop it there because our hour is winding down. So we're coming to the end of our hour here, and I just wanted to conclude this segment with your views on the summit this past weekend. You know, I want to get everybody's viewpoint. Like, how did you feel about it? What did you take away from it? Was this the beginning of something, or was it huge? I mean, and then I give you my version of what I experienced.
I'll defer to Brother Mukasa.
Well, I was invited to be there, and that it's the new Black Panther Party itself seemed to want to unite with all the different groups and stop the bickering and fighting among ourselves, and began to unite and began to build and support each other in our organizing and in our building and our ideological development toward our liberation. So I think I saw a great effort for people to reach out. They talked about building, again, united fronts. They're talking about other organizations and movements coming together. We talked about linking up with liberation movements in Africa and South America, South Pacific. We talked about imperialism and the capitalist system. We talked about neocolonialism. And so I thought it was a very progressive conference, and that it's a step in the right direction. They wanted to unite and try to mend the relationship with the old Black Panther Party, with the new Black Panther Party, and that and SNCC and Black Panther Party had to do that at some point, the same thing, and that all of us, I think that the elders don't quite see the way young people do it, and young people don't see the way elders operate. I think we operated that with the old people when we were in SNCC. So we need Pan-Africanism, and we need to come together and work together. So I saw a lot of good people at this conference, and they all had a desire to want to be free, want to liberate, want to organize, and try to understand and deal with the oppression that we face today and how to do mass education with people and unite with the people that's doing anything at all, mass education, organizing, and what have you. We need to come together and be very supportive of each other and not put each other down because we want our ego is bigger than someone else. We have a very serious problem. Our people are hungry. Our people are in jails and prisons and whatever. And if groups like the Taliban could pull all their people together and defeat the United States, and they've organized and still in Iraq and Syria and other places in North Korea is trying to unite Korea. And we need to unite Africa. We need to unite and build a movement like the China. And all of us need to study China and all that. Back in the day, all the Panthers had little red books. And they used to read about socialism and different isms of the revolution that Mao Zedong presented to them. Mao's little red book, they called it. But we need to educate our people. And I thought the conference was a very progressive conference. And it was a lot of young people there that was trying to do their best to understand the movement, understand the revolution, and reach out to other groups and people. And I think that was very progressive. And so I was impressed with what I saw at the conference this weekend, and it made me want to reach out to the new Black Panthers Party even more.
Okay, well, we definitely appreciate you, Elder.
Thank you.
Okay. And what about you, Elder at the top?
Elder at the top. I concur with what Mukasa said. You look, you done tickled yourself. You know,
Always do.
Yeah.
Always do.
I ain't mad at you, but I agree with what Mukasa said. And if I may just add to it just a little bit. I saw a group that before the conference had issues with one another. But at the conference, there was a common understanding that we are at war. There's a war being waged against us.
Right.
And the war that's being waged against us is the same one shooting at all of us. And it doesn't make any sense for us to have beefs with one another, whether they're legit or not, when we have a common enemy. If we have a common enemy, which we do, then we should suppress our differences and deal with that common enemy, neutralize that common enemy. Then once we get that done, then we can talk about the beef that we have with each other. And if we understand revolution, that's been the case. Brother Mukasa talks about the Taliban over in Afghanistan. They done ran America out of Afghanistan. Now you see them fighting themselves because they're trying to determine who's going to control the country. They gotta be. And when you're talking about revolution, that is the process, unfortunately. Once you get the oppressor out of the country, out of your hair, then we fight each other. I would hope that us as a people, in our efforts to unify Africa and Africans around the world, that even though we understand that process, we would not go through the process where we have to fight each other. We would find another way to settle our differences and determine who's going to rule without having to kill each other. And I saw the beginning of that at the conference, with them being able to downplay the differences and to unify so that we could realize our freedom together. I'm not being as joyful as I am now coming out of that conference. I haven't been this joyful in a long time. And so I'm elated. Yeah, I'm elated. You know, that our people our people, Mukasa said, take a first step. I'm saying it's a giant step that we're going to move lockstep to stop these people from oppressing us. And shoot, teaching ourselves is part of that too. So I thought the conference was excellent, and look forward to furthering the rapport that was displayed there. Thank you for letting me
And
talk.
also, I want to say that revolution, we have to deal with the minds of people, because those people is revolutionary minded and trying to understand and carry out revolution. They are our brothers and sisters, whoever, all revolutionary, whoever they are. And that those people who are neo-colonialists and working for colonialism and imperialism against their own people, working for imperialism and neo-colonialism, they are our enemy. And the neo-colonialists, many of them, or most of them, will look like us, and they hold guns on their own people and work with the foreign powers of the world, where these foreign powers of Europe and imperialism rape and take the resources out of Africa. We must stop it. And so when we talk about unity, Muammar Gaddafi was talking about the United States of Africa. We want to put Africa back together into one major force. We want socialism, an economic system that take everything that the rich have, all the multinationals have, and run those companies in the interest of the people, and the profit go back to the people in terms of school, education, medicine, and all the things that it takes for a human being to live and to make the world better. And this is what we're trying to understand. And we ask that everybody read and study and listen to speeches and talks on revolutionaries from Du Bois to Fidel to Nkrumah and all the different revolutionaries around the world, Marx, Lenin, and all of them, and try to get Mao Zedong and try to get an understanding of revolution. But Malcolm X said revolution is fought over land. Our land is Africa. And we're talking about the total liberation and unification of Africa under scientific socialism. And it ain't a nickel worth of difference in those people that's revolutionaries. We is not a nickel, and we ain't nothing we worth fighting for. We can debate over it and talk over it, but we must do it in a brotherly, revolutionary manner. But we definitely have to speak the truth at all times and fight for the liberation of Africa and what have you. And also, I want to say one of the great things about the conference, it started this meeting in the Pan-African Connection, a group that's working and fighting for Pan-Africanism. And we had our meeting at the Pan-African Connection. And so that meant that we were trying to reach out to all our brothers and sisters in revolutionary governments throughout the world and revolutionary ideas throughout the world, and that was very good. So again, I'm very honored to spend my time with y'all revolutionaries and the new Black Panthers and all the different groups that exist in the world. I certainly hope that we join hands and together we can fight for Pan-Africanism, and we can defeat imperialism, and we can defeat the crimes that's committed against us by the rich man. They're nothing but a bunch of vultures and killers and murderers, and they're messing the world up, the people up, and we must stop them. And therefore, we must be serious about building institutions, building schools, and educating our people in every means that we can. So again, thank you, and long live Africa, and long live the revolution.
Absolutely, Black Power.
Black power, Africa must be free. Long
It
live
will be free.
Pan-Africanism.
Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna tell you what I got from it. We had a pretty rough year. We started out in Tulsa. The momentum in Tulsa was wonderful. It was so high, and then we had like bumps and bruises and things along the way up until this point. But I always love these events and these conferences because it's like a family reunion. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us, we're kind of like the black sheeps in our family because we're separated from the traditional educational system or even forms of religious beliefs or whatever. So we kind of like have only each other to rely on to move forward in this thing. And when we get together, it's just like being at home. It's just like when you go back home for the holidays or whatever, it's just like everybody around the table and everybody breaking bread and everybody, you know, we in this together. We understand that we in this together. So it was a lot of tears and hugs and kisses and smiles and laughs and everything. And just the fact that other organizations even respected us or took time out to just come join us meant a lot. You know, I'm a huge fan of Babu and the Huey P. Newton Gun Club, and I was glad to see him there. And, you know, they stand in formation, and, you know, as well as Anubis and, you know, Sisters of Underground, and, you know, just a plethora of us was just there, and we was all there, and it was really no issue. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a time that we congregated, and it was just all love and respect and desire, like you said, Elder, to just move forward. Like whatever we had in the past is like leave it in the past and just go forward, because we got our babies coming up in this thing. So it was a beautiful moment. Like, to be honest, I haven't recovered from the trip because for some reason a 17-hour trip turned into a 36-hour trip. But it was all love though. But I'm just still high off the momentum of even just the travel. You know what I'm saying? Everything that we went through during the travel process, it was just getting to know everybody on different levels. You know what I'm saying? It gave me a whole different perspective and respect on why everybody else why everybody else motivation keeps them fired up. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely walked away with a gain and a respect of what we had going on. So that was definitely something I would love to do on a regular. You know what I'm saying? You know, hopefully we do this every year and it get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then more organizations and more people just come together, because really, like Chairman Malik, Zulu Shabazz say, we are all Panthers. I had to put that up there, but we are all Panthers, because that's the foundation. You know what I'm saying? So we just got to move and sync and just keep it moving, because the more we connect, the more we, you know, stick together, the more power we gonna have. You see what I'm saying? And then we'll be able to accomplish all the things that we say we want: the education, the health, you know what I'm saying? The healthy relationships, you know, raising our children, taking care of our babies, you know, just reintroducing them to a different energy.
Philosophy.
You know what I'm saying?
Revolutionary philosophy.
Exactly. So, okay, I guess we're gonna wrap it up.
And just finally, there'll be another meeting in Venezuela in about, I think, around the 18th. Around the 18th of this month, revolutionaries from around the world coming together in Venezuela.
Okay.
And you know, revolutionaries always come together in Cuba but they're all over the world, all in Guinea-Bissau and Porto Angola, Mozambique, the Congo. The revolutionaries are uniting in Ethiopia and Eritrea and Somalia to defeat the American forces that the United States is putting there, and they're uniting. And so it's going to be a major battle, and we all join together. When we all get together, that's Pan-Africanism. So I'm very proud that Zulu and all y'all young people are trying to bring us all together worldwide, revolutionaries, and we can defeat this monster. So thank y'all, nice young people, very kindly.
Thank you. Well, we definitely appreciate the wisdom and the path and the direction that you all give us. Because if it wasn't for you all that even started like laying down the bricks, you know what I'm saying, laying down the path for us, we wouldn't know what to do. We wouldn't know, you know what I'm saying? We wouldn't have that direction to go in.
Well, if one of y'all young people picking up the brick, we wouldn't be able to do nothing no way. Thank you for picking up the brick. And somebody laid them down for us. and
Throw
shave
the brick. Throw the brick.
The revolution's been going on ever since the first one landed in Africa, and it will continue to go on until we liberate Africa under scientific socialism. So long live the Palestinians and all the freedom fighters that's fighting in the world.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we're gonna
Thank you,
keep bringing them babies up.
Oh, we coming. They coming. They coming. So again, thank you. And Black Power, Pan-Africanism, and Africa must unite.
Thank you, and we love you.
Yes, sir.
Black
And
Power.
remember, we have to believe in socialism, scientific socialism. That's the economic system. Some people call it communism. Yeah, common people.
I know
Thank you
that's
so
right.
much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I
Thank
want to
you.
say thank you also. I want to say thank you also. And Brother Mukasa has had the last word.
Africa
Ashe.
must unite.
God
Black
bless.
Power.
Are we through?
Yeah, I think we are.
You see my beautiful
too.
grandbaby, she said
Me
we
too.
through. See my beautiful grandbaby right there?
Oh
She
yeah,
said we
she's
through.
precious. Oh, she's precious.
Black Power,
So
comrade.
what did you say, Chuma? Are we through, or are there something else going on?
Yeah, I'm finding out now. Me too?
Sister Chuma,
Yes.
okay, I was supposed to speak on the political education, and I didn't get to, I wanted to piggyback on some of the things that they said. It was like
Veggie
talking.
bag.
Do I
Okay,
have
go
a
ahead.
full chair? No? Do I have the
So
floor?
go ahead, sis, talk.
Okay. Well, I want to introduce myself. I'm Sister Asada Karriem Shabazz, National Minister of Education. For those of you that don't know me, I wanted to elaborate on what my elders had said before about the education system. I'm a school board member, so I'm over a school district, and the problems that that we know from history is definitely still happening today, and the parents are becoming aware, and they're wondering what they should do about it. Now, I know that we don't normally vote, or political system, the system's not for us, but I see a difference in having a seat at the table, or being one that can change policy if we went on ahead and ran versus voting. It's just like in economics, they'll teach us to save, and that's supposed to be good for us. But the millionaires are not saving, they're borrowing your money so they can be entrepreneurs. So even though we get a little bit of education, which puts us in a better situation than we were before, we're not getting the white people's education. They're teaching us, is we getting European knowledge, but they're not teaching us the science of education and economics according to them and the way they work. But I'm saying that to say this, we know we need our own schools, but how long does it take? I see our budget, our school budget. And for as many Black people who needs a Black school, even if we put our billions together and only spent all our money on education, we wouldn't have enough. So it's like, how do we fix this problem within this catch-22 we're in? You know, I was privileged enough to be able to homeschool my daughter, but a lot of other parents can't. It's not that they're lazy, they just have to work, and school becomes the babysitter. But then after they go to school, even if they're conscious, they have to reteach their children. So we as conscious people, even though we know that some parents is going to have to send their children to the public school system, which I'm still fighting for that, because they got this new thing called critical race theory, where even white people are trying to learn how to teach Black history. And as much as they care to do it, like good white folks, they're still not good enough. They're really not good enough to teach our children. They don't know how. And if they taught them what they really need to know, they will be being racist. So what can we do as Panthers or activists right now today to help our babies, and that's having programs outside of school, after school programs. So now instead of that child being a latchkey, back in the day we call it a latchkey, now I don't know, they just freely, they come home and they're by themselves. Their parents, you know, they say parent participation makes a genius student, but sometimes parent participation is just making sure that the child is did their homework, not checking it because they at work or they don't know enough to help them with their homework. So it's like if we have programs so we can re-educate these children besides the public school system. So if we did that until we got our own schools, that'll be good. If we ran for school board, ran for city council, ran for senator, ran for, so we can change some of the laws that, because a lot of these are white people lobbyists that are fighting for this critical race theory that they're putting into the school system. But they're having, they're running against opposition of their own people with this. But can you imagine if those people that were sitting in those seats that they're begging were Panthers? And I'm not talking about student and booted Panthers, I'm talking about the mindset. If we have that mindset in these offices, in these positions where we have a seat at the table, where we can say what we need as a people and stand on it. When you're asking for this favor for us, you're asking another one of us for this favor, not asking a white person or a black person that acts white, because that's what I realized. Our school board is totally black. But when I fought against having the Caucasian superintendent who made a certain statement, these black people defended this white woman, and they made me be militant and aggressive with the reason that I thought that she shouldn't have been in our school system. But now she's been fired. Now they can say, well, you were right. And I could say, okay, I'm a Panther, but it wasn't the outfit that made that decision. It was the mindset, that Panther mindset in there saying, even if she was the best, she's not the best for our children. But anyway, I'm just saying that to say, if we can step up in the political realm and not vote, but run for office, and at the same time, do things, 501c3s, nonprofit organizations, after school programs, where we have Black mentors teaching these children, because I say, even if they're in the public school system, they should always still be homeschooled. Thank you, and Black Power.
Black Power.
Black Power.
Okay, am I on?
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all, I'll be taking over from here. I want to thank you so much for, I want to thank all of you all for coming here live on the opening orientation session of Black Panther Liberation School. I want to thank specifically Brother Mintu. I want to thank Sister Renee. I think you got to put your microphone on, Sister Chuma. And I want to thank the National Minister of Culture of the new Black Panther Party, Sister Abunga Chuma, for her contribution tonight. I want to thank Mmoja Ajabu for his political contribution tonight. I want to thank Mukasa Ricks. I'm sure he had plenty of political education on the political education class tonight. I'm opening up my other app here. All right, let me come in on my other one. Let me in on the other one. Host, let me in, please, so I can get my mic right and get on my other one. Let me in on the other one, Brother Mintu. Thank you. All right, join with computer on.
Gotta mute the other one.
Okay, hold 1 second. Come off the other one. So let me get off the other one. All right, there it is. The real Shabazz. Hold 1 second.
Got a bad echo.
All right, I should be in here right now. Okay. All right. Black Power, am I on? Let's get down to business. Am I on?
You on?
Black Power, I hear you.
All right, thank you. Can you see me? Because I can't see myself.
Yes, we can see you.
Okay, you can see me. Okay. All right. Black Power, dear sisters and brothers. Brother Mintu, can you put the PDF up? Can you put one of the PDFs up? Maybe yours. And let's take a look at that. And I want to open up here. I want to welcome everybody in. Can you spread the word here? We're in the second hour here of Black Panther Liberation School Orientation Night. Black Panther Liberation School Orientation Night. Okay. Let's see what Mintu's got going. Let me tag my page here. We're going to get going. I got here in this special class here tonight, I got special guests. It's the 7 o'clock hour, 8 o'clock hour. Political education is the subject matter of this class. Specifically, news and current events is what I'll be doing every Monday night. And others will be doing every Monday night. I want to explain to you all briefly about what this is, this Black Panther Liberation School. I'm going to talk about the curriculum. I'm going to talk about the purposes, the origins, where we see us heading. But I want to say before we get going that as we get set up here is that we must have institutions. We must have institutions that we can rely on in this Black Nationalist, Black Power movement. And that's what I'm committed to deliver on behalf of the new Black Panther Party to the Black community at large. So let me tag my page for a minute. Let me get a few people in here that I know I want in here because we have to become educated. We have to become formally educated. And we have to, and we must, and we are going to be educating ourselves. So let me go down the line here. Let me get people on. Just give me 1 minute. Everybody that's in the party, please tag somebody. I got some important messages. This hour is about current events. So we're going to talk about McDonald's. We're going to talk about the Ahmaud Arbery trial. We're going to talk about events in Mississippi. We're going to talk about upcoming events in Indianapolis and Indiana. We got hot news here on this Liberation School because our classroom is the class of reality. We live in a world of oppression under racism and white supremacy. And this class is designed to educate us to get out of this condition. So just hold with me for a minute. Let me tag up some people here and get going. Again, thank you, Sister Abunga Chumba. Thank you, Brother Ula. I think I heard him somewhere. Thank you to the National Minister of Education of the Panther Party, Asada Karima Shabazz. I see her, she's fired up and she's got a mighty role here. And I'm excited here. So just give me 1 minute. Let me tag up the right people here. Just give me 1 minute. Let me go around the country because the Black Panthers have a school. Black Panthers have a school. Let me tag a few more. All right, let's see the other exhibit you got, Brother Mintu. Let's see the other one from Sister Queen Renee, and then we'll see. We got my exhibits, and I can get down to it. That ain't bad at all. I likes that. I likes that. All right, we looking like we getting official with it. That's what I'm talking about. Give me some papers and some letters and some school type materials up in here. All right, sisters and brothers, I have here on the line, I have here as part of this class, the Black Liberation Movement from Mississippi. We're going to talk about Mississippi. We're going to talk about Texas. We're going to talk about Indiana in this political education class of current events and see for ourselves what's going on the ground in these states and how we can learn from these struggles to implement what we call Black Power. Black Power is the #1 slogan in the Black nation, and throughout everybody wants Black Power. But there must be leadership that can help deliver that Black Power. We have to have Black Power. It has to be delivered in a tangible form. We have to have a practical Black nationalism. If that's an okay term to use, a practical Black nationalism, or a pragmatic nationalism. On here on the line here, I got Brother Patrick Alexander, or I call him Brother Patrick Lumumba. I think that's his preference. Black Liberation Movement of Mississippi. We have Minister Kamal, Karriem, a longtime follower and supporter directly from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He's here as part of this class. He comes to teach. We have, I'm expecting from Dallas, Texas, I'm expecting Minister Drew, Brother Drew X from the ground in Dallas, Texas. I'm expecting Brother Drew, and we're going to talk about the case in general. All right. School. All right, pardon my tardiness. Teacher should not be tardy for his class. Even if he's taking care of his daughter, his children, he should not be tardy for the class. Okay, we're all loaded up and we're on here. Welcome everybody. It's the opening night of the Black Panther Liberation School. This is the Black Panther Liberation School for the purposes of re-educating the Black man and the Black woman in America, for the purpose of providing uncompromised quality education, classes, workshops, and illustrative examples for our entire community based on the principles of Black nationalism, Pan-Africanism, and all of the great teachers and worthies that have come before us in the line of divine. My name is Malik Zulu Shabazz. I currently serve as the chairman of the new Black Panther Party for Self-Defense under the legacy and the leadership of the Honorable Dr. Khalid Muhammad and the Honorable Hashim Nzinga, two great and mighty ones that have gone before me and I've labored side by side with to be here in this hour to do something very unique. And that is establish an institution in the Black community, to reestablish an institution, the Black Panther Liberation School. We're starting off here online, and we're going to move to the live classroom with our youth on Saturday schools soon. But we're starting off here online once again, and our instructions to all of our qualified officers in the cities around America is that we have a green light to set up Saturday liberation schools for our children and for our youth in the community and in the Panther Party. And some of those sessions will be broadcast here live on Shabazz, at the Black Panther Liberation School, which is hosted by Shabazz University platform. This website is shabazzuniversity.com. It's hosting the Black Panther Liberation School, We're also at blackpanthermovement.org/education. I'm sure Brother Mintu, who's doing a great work in this hour, I'm sure he's going to hook that up. So when you go to blackpanthermovement.org/education, you get right to the Liberation School. And we have our own YouTube channel now. YouTube channel has come out today, Black Panther Liberation School, headed by Sister Renee. She won't be Renee long, buckle your seatbelts. But she is setting, the YouTube channel is in effect. The YouTube channel will host these classes, but it will also have critical information and videos. Classes and videos by Dr. Amos Wilson. Classes and videos by Dr. Yusef Ben Yakin. Classes and videos by Dr. Leonard Jeffries. Classes and videos even by our brother, Dr. Umar Johnson. Classes and videos by Dr. Tony Martin, Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Legal classes that I've taught on this platform, what Black people need to know when dealing with the police. I would like Sister Renee to upload all of those videos on this platform. And furthermore, any other critical educational information, the Black Panther Liberation School YouTube channel. We want the Black Nation to support this. This is for the Black Nation. Every Monday night at 6 o'clock, we start every Monday night. That's the meaning of an institution. It occurs regularly. It's set in stone. 6 o'clock on Monday nights is economic development class, which will start next Monday at 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 Central, 3 West. Economic development class and financial literacy courses. And specifically, this class will be taught for Black people who are committed to doing for self and want to hear experts who will come on the line and telling them how they can do for self in areas of finance, real estate, and developing our own businesses. You know, we say we want to do for self, but we must be taught how to do for self. And so we have people that run businesses, the people that run their own economic entrepreneurial enterprises. They will be teaching this class. They will be teaching this class every Monday, and they will have their documents. They will have all that is needed. They have all that is needed to teach the economic development class. The second class every Monday, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central, right here in Black Liberation School, it'll be the political education class. Black political education class will be right here. And it will be taught by our experts from the base and the platform of the new Black Panther Party 10-point program. And we will be taught by some of the best. We're hoping that our brother, our professor, Kamal, Karriem, that he will come on and he will be on the schedule to at least teach perhaps one class or more a month, because he has generations of experience that need to be promoted here right on this platform. We will have the experts and some of the best in Black nationalist political science that will be teaching here every Monday night. At 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central, I myself, Malik Zulu Shabazz, will be here for current news and events class. Current news and events class. That's what I'm going into now, current news and events, because I like to stay current. And I always have my eye on the latest and breaking news from throughout the Black nation who is fighting white racism and white supremacy all over. This will be current news and events, the Black News Network. And at our schools, our children need to know more current events. But anyway, that's what I'll be doing at the 8 o'clock hour. At the 9 o'clock hour will be Black Manhood Training and Development. Black Manhood Training and Development, countering the conspiracy to destroy Black youth. And every Monday at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 Central, specialists in reaching Black males will teach
on this platform. Specialists in reforming Black men who have been in prison, who have been locked out of the education system, who may be in the education system, but still are in danger. We must put a specific effort, and we will put a specific effort here for Black manhood training and development course here. And we want all of the brothers and to get your nephews and get your cousins to gather around at the 9 o'clock hour as we institutionalize the training of Black men and Black male development. By God's grace, as I conclude the schedule for now, as 10 o'clock hour should be our self-defense and survival training class at 10 o'clock Eastern every Monday, self-defense and survival training class, where we would hope to have our top survival experts come here and teach survival and self-defense training. We would hope to have some of our greats here, General Babu Omowale. We would hope to have from Anubis, Brother Amun. We would hope to have that other great Anubis member, Brother Kwasi Asante, that top caliber competition shooter, to teach a class for us. Sister Abunga Chumba and others here in the Panther Party. Self-defense and survival training on Mondays. And we're gonna have it because we have to have it, all right? So that's the schedule. And I don't think, can you scroll down some, brother? Scroll down a little more. All right, fine. I think I covered it all. You can bring me back to the center. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And at some point, if you can just get the logo, just that logo of that panther, just the cat by itself. And we can work with that cat here tonight at our Liberation School. All right, so we got to make use of time. It's 8:30 and I'm gonna get right to the point here. We're coming off of a key historic event. We're coming off of the new Black Panther Liberation Summit in Dallas, Texas. We're coming off of that great summit. And I believe that we're coming off in good fashion. I believe that we're coming off in good fashion because we're stepping right into the program of liberation. I speak of this from the new Black Panther Party perspective. We're coming right into, I hope my screen is front and center. I know Mentu controls it. I might not be seeing it right. We're coming right off our summit, right into the work. This is a Black platform. To quote the Panther Party taught it in the 60s, but they got it from Chairman Mao Zedong, that the best form of education is participation. The best form of education is participation. That's nice. We're gonna need one that says the Liberation School, but that's nice. All right, you can still put me center. Put that somewhere on the row, but put me back in the center and we'll be fine. Put me back in the center, yes, sir. So best form of education is participation. And so we're coming off of our Liberation Summit. We're now launching the Black Panther Liberation School, a school that we want to be taught by and embraced by the entire Black Power, Black Nationalist community, not just the Panther Party. That this platform is open for all of the great teachers in the Black nation who want to educate our people. That is our goal to our staff who's listening on the line. That is our goal. We've had commitments from others such as Ilyasa Shabazz, Malcolm's daughter. Dr. Cornel West promised that he would teach or allow his guest lectures to be broadcast here. So we have Professor Ashra Kwesi and others. We have a lineup that we need to institute into this institution, but make no mistake about it, We are on our way to establishing institutions that can stand beyond the life of the flesh of whoever's operating this platform. That means that if the enemy, by God, if Allah forbid, but if the enemy takes me out tomorrow, this platform must continue. The new Black Panther newspaper is an institution, it's spreading throughout America. If something happens to the individuals in this organization as a collective, the newspaper program must continue. The institutions must continue, okay? So I say this is that we're going to, oh, 1 second. Start here, and then I'm going to come to the Black Liberation Movement of Mississippi and all my other, Sister Asada, Sister Chuma, y'all taking notes on how I'm kind of running this class, and this would be y'all notes on how you run the classes, because you all are capable of running these classes. That's what I love. One thing I love about the Panther Party, we have an organization. It is power in having an intelligent group of members organized for a common purpose. That's human resources. Human resources properly organized can move mountains. And because as I open up this platform, y'all know that I'm a lawyer and I got all kind of battles on my plate. So what am I saying? It's y'all time to rise. It's your time, young lady. Your time, young lady. Anyway, let me move fast. The book of Khalid. I'm going to recommend a few books here just to get going. And there are other books that you should put in the chat room, but I'm going to recommend some books as we open up here at the Black Panther Liberation School. I recommend the book of Khalid. The book of Khalid. And I'm honored to write this by Malik Zulu Shabazz. I recommend this book for all brothers and sisters who are currently in the struggle, because you can learn a lot about knowing the history of this struggle from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. You can learn a lot about this struggle from learning the history of the Nation of Islam. You can learn a lot about this struggle from learning the history of the new Black Panther Party, and from learning all of the many aspects of one of our great freedom fighters, Khalid Muhammad. This is his unadulterated, uncut biography. It's 552 pages, and it's over 1,000 footnotes. I just completed this book a year ago, and I'm amazed that I even was blessed to even do this book. That's another subject we'll get into in book writing. But some of the books that I compiled the book off of are here, some of them. But anyway, the book of Khalid I recommend as I move faster. The Marcus Garvey, Message to the People, Course on African Philosophy. Marcus Garvey, Message to the People, Course on African Philosophy is what I recommend for all organizers. All organizers, you must learn from the master, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Message to the People. I have a book I just happen to have on myself, Civilization or Barbarism by Sheikh Anta Diop. Civilization or Barbarism by Sheikh Anta Diop. Still a classic. The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews by the Nation of Islam Research Department. This was a key book for us in the 1990s, I'm sure today. Maybe mom have know this book, but this is a Muslim in Mississippi. His name is Brother Hollis Watkins. And he wrote a book called The Sankofa of a Movement Man. You all may not have read this book, but this is a respected brother in the struggle in Mississippi, and we appreciate and encourage Black people who write books about their experiences in the struggle. and there are many others. In the name of Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan. This is one book I helped compile the book of Khalid from. In the name of Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, by a British man named Matthias Gardell. History of the Nation of Islam. I use this to make the book of Khalid. This is by Dawn Marie Gibson. Okay, Mintu, try to see if we can extend this platform past 9 o'clock. All right, with that being stated, we have to read. Read Jewish Encyclopedia, read Black Muslims in America, another book I used to make the book of Khalid. We must read, read, read. We're gonna have reading lists. We're gonna do so much, and I'll get back to it. Right now, I'm gonna go right to Brother Kamal Karriem and my brother Patrick Alexander, who are here from the Black Liberation Movement in Mississippi. He's gonna talk about his book, Pragmatic Nationalism. Am I right? Let's unmute him. Let's unmute Brother Kamal. Okay, and let's see what he has to share with us. Brother Minister Kamal Karriem, Black Liberation Movement in Mississippi. He's the author of a book called Pragmatic Nationalism. He presented at the new Black Panther Party Liberation Summit. We want to go further into his ideology and his concepts with Brother Patrick. So my brother, you've heard what I had to say. Let me be quiet. You have the forum, you have the floor. You are certainly a qualified teacher. Yes, let us all receive Brother Kamal Karriem, please.
Yes, sir. First of all, Brother Malik, Shabazz, thank you so much. And thank you so much for having the vision to have a Black Liberation School, certainly under the banner of Shabazz, the Greater Taker. And certainly in the name of God, in the name of all of what he's doing and the creative power of your leadership, we come today, and we come in the struggle of liberation, freedom, and justice and equality for our people. Pragmatic nationalism comes off of the history and research of the movements of Pan-Africanism and the struggle of liberation in our country. There was an African by the name of Martin Delany, very little known, talked about, as well as another African by the name of David Walker. First, David Walker came out with his famous David Walker's Appeal, where basically he said liberty or death. Couched upon that came Martin Delany, very intelligent and very astute writer who used to write with Frederick Douglass for a paper called the North Star. The approach to our dilemma in America has always been the question, what are we going to do with the so-called Negro in America now that we cannot use his labor and since he has been so-called emancipated? That's still the question today, even when the Supreme Court in its rules, as you well know, because you're an attorney, that a Black man has no law that a white man is bound to respect. But the pragmatic nationalism, it comes from Delany, who by historical terms is the father of nationalism, Black nationalism, where he made the statement that we are a nation within a nation of people. That was also carried and resounded by Marcus Mosiah Garvey. It was carried and resounded by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm, and many, many other Pan-Africanists all throughout the earth, even leading to our connection with Africa. While we maintain a connection with Africa and Africans all around the world, pragmatically, we maintain our nationhood even though we're in a foreign land. It's sort of like the paradigm of when those of us who were getting on slave ships by force. Some of us ate dirt so that we could take our land with us. That was a beginning of pragmatic nationalism. You might be taking me away from my home, but you're not going to take my country away from inside of me. Pragmatic nationalism is the development of autonomous neighborhoods, Black townships, political and educational development that has the sole objective of protecting the biological and sociological interests of our own communities and developing those communities, having Pan-Africanist liberation ideological thought, whether you're a Christian, Muslim, or whatever your religious persuasion, letting that religious persuasion be a tool for liberation. And so doing it pragmatically, the realistic way, not just selling a wolf ticket in theory, but actually having an application of knowledge to bring about change in a physical way. So that's how I come up with the book Pragmatic Nationalism. And I ask that you read it, and I appreciate the platform to promote this book. You can get it on Barnes and Nobles. It goes right to your phone through an ebook. And you can also get it on Amazon, or you can go to Gumroad and you can purchase this book. Or if you want a hard copy, you can just simply, you can email me at kkarriem@gmail.com. Very simple, kkarriem@gmail.com. So that's the answer to the first question. Let me jump in for a second here.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. We have time. I see we're going to be able to extend the time, so I'm fine. Let me ask you this: when you say pragmatic nationalism, are you somehow implying that the nationalism that we have received thus far has been more idealistic or metaphorical?
You know, with all of this move toward inclusion, we had the civil rights movement overshadowed a lot of Pan-Africanist movement of trying to be included into a system that didn't want to really include us. And so it sort of waned. Pragmatic nationalism is the revisiting in this paradigm shift of we're in of our African roots, our Pan-African roots. And I think that we're going to see a resurgence of Black liberation, Pan-Africanist roots, because see, if you look at our populations, Brother Shabazz, we're on the move. We're in an exodus. Where we were in an exodus in the 50s, it's in reverse now. We're leaving cities like Chicago and St. Louis, New York, New Jersey. We're in a paradigm shift, going to cities like Orlando, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, even coming south, Dallas, Texas, Houston, Texas. Now, unfortunately, this paradigm shift where we were chasing industrialism and chasing a job for the white people to give us a job, we're still doing that, and we're moving to these places where these new jobs are springing up. Now, for the ones who are unskilled and unqualified, who are fleeing the blight of the inner cities, the crime and the destitution of what white supremacy has brought about, they're coming to places like Mississippi. Those prisoners who have been incarcerated that can't get a job because of their prison record, they're coming to places like Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. But we are on the move. And as we're on the move, there's a generation that really feels that the policies of inclusion and seeking that beloved community and we shall overcome has failed us. And so pragmatic nationalism is a resurgence of our return to those Pan-African roots through our liberation of freedom, justice, and equality, and for us to have a realistic, idealistic plan for our struggle in every area of battle that we entertain this thought in.
Okay, that's a very good answer. That clarifies it. So this is a resurgence
Yes, sir.
Now, and then I'm going to move down the panel. This is going to be a good panel here. I want to ask you, you are blessed to observe a new generation of freedom fighters, a new generation of Black Panthers, a new generation of young people in the struggle. In terms of education and what they should know to carry out their mission properly, what are your recommendations and advice in terms of education for this current generation of young people that we see as Black Panthers, as wearing the red, black, and green throughout the bounds of America?
I want to piggyback on something that Sister Shabazz said. She brought out something about the financing of Black private schools and the financing of Black education. And I have contemplated this. And matter of fact, I'm a product of a Black school. I graduated from Muhammad University of Islam in 1975. And this is what I've come up with in the system that we're dealing with in a lack of finance. You know, we could do hybrid homeschooling. In other words, you can do homeschooling in groups. And you know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, you can teach under a tree, but it's the curricula that you teach. It can be in line with the state guidelines as far as the requirements of enough math, of enough history, so on and so forth. But it can be done with a Pan-Africanist and Afrocentric curricula in terms of children and homeschooling. And we could do what you call hybrid groups, where these groups could be dependent upon the state law, but they could be as many as 12 people at a time until we are able to get the economic base that we could fund certain things that we need as far as our economic liberation. And let me just say this before I relinquish the question. See, Brother Malik and panel, we have to control our inner market. We have lost the control of our inner market. And because we've lost the control of our inner market in our communities, you know, you have the Koreans who have taken over, you have the Arabs who have taken over, you've got all of the foreign nationals who have taken over, all of the mom and pop operations in our community. So we have no inner market. And because we have no inner market, it's difficult to finance these different projects. And so economically, we're going to have to do economic-based things, farming. We're going to have to open up restaurants, grocery stores, and we're going to have to start recycling our money, our $1 trillion economy, so that we can finance our education purposes.
All right, thank you so much. I agree with that. Is it safe to say that we will be able to work out where you will teach a class here at Black Panther Liberation School at least once a month?
My brother, I would be honored to. I'd be more than happy to.
Because we would like you to just lay out the whole, you teach the political education class, you have the whole hour, you bring your exhibits, you bring your uploads. We all get behind it and promote it, because I want to attend that class. Actually, I want to attend your class.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So this is kind of an introduction, but I want to set a schedule with you and turn the floor over to you so we can get all of this new generation in here. We can get educated, because I believe that being educated makes stronger soldiers. Got to know why you're fighting. You got to know what happened in the fight before you, and all of those things that make you a better prepared warrior for today. Okay, so I'm going to move down the line here to Brother Patrick. Brother Patrick, thank you for your patience. All of y'all have been very patient tonight. Brother Patrick, I want to ask you, my brother, I got to get me a better background and all of that. I'm going to get better. But you know what I wanted to do? I just wanted to make sure that we got going. You know, there's enough talking. We got to dive in and root our university in and get going. Now, Brother Patrick, we talked a lot privately about Mississippi. And when we want to get just an understanding of Mississippi, we privately have stated that Mississippi is a state of great potential, Mississippi can be a great example where what we call Black nationalism or Black power is manifest. We've talked about directing the attention of the forces of the Black nation to Mississippi. What is it, Brother Patrick, about the state of Mississippi that this audience needs to be educated on? What do we need to be educated on about brothers and sisters and the Black movement in Mississippi? What is that?
Peace and power, brother Dr. Malik Zulu Shabazz. First of all, let me prelude what I'm saying by just thanking you. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just thanking you, brother, for presenting this platform, because it's most definitely necessary, and you need to be commended on that effort altogether. But just pertaining to what you're saying and listening intensively to Babu Kamal Karriem, who I most definitely appreciate, you know, being the counselor general of this effort that we pushing forward here in Mississippi. But to speak to your question and concern of Mississippi, we need to become very astutely aware of what Mississippi actually presents for us. I've been taught by some of the greatest teachers that I think one can have. It was Professor James Small, who came down to Mississippi about 3 years ago, and he attended one of the summits that we convene every year here in Mississippi, the Black Liberation Movement Building Power Summit. And Baba James Small had a private conversation with me. He said, Brother Patrick, he said, you know, Mississippi is the Africa of the Western Hemisphere. And it struck me, and it stayed with me. I said, but Baba Smalls, I said, what do you mean, the Africa of the Western Hemisphere? He said, Brother Patrick, he said, do you understand ecology? I said, I heard the word. I said, but break it down to me and explain to me what you mean by ecology. He said, ecology is an organism relationship to its environment. And when you look at Mississippi as it pertains to ecology, it mimics Nile Valley civilization. So when he began to break the ecology of Mississippi down, and when we began to understand how Mississippi was resourcefully used in the building of this nation, and when you see the implementation of our people as a labor class, as a labor force in the building of the economic power, the exponential economic power of this nation, and when our people were brought in to the coast of South Carolina and sojourned and brought in from South Carolina to Mississippi at the rate of 500,000 that was situated here in the Delta of Mississippi, you begin to understand, you know, how this country was exponentially had an economic boom. And after understanding that, you begin to understand the situation of the now. The tremendous Black residue that has been left here and deposited here in Mississippi. Just like Baba Small was talking about the migration and the brothers and sisters that left here in Mississippi, that left Mississippi for the destination state cities of Chicago and the cities of the North. But it was a strong body of us that was still here, that were left here, which still makes Mississippi the blackest state ratio to proportion of any state in the United States. We still there. So when I began to understand not only the ecological advantages of Mississippi, we have to look at the political advantages of Mississippi. We have to look at the numbers here in Mississippi. We got to begin to think about how do we actually politically situate ourselves to actually control demographics here in this country. So just to be brief, but just to lay that framework, Brother Malik, we have to begin to be pragmatic. I heard you ask Baba Kamal about what exactly is pragmatism, and are you suggesting that the pragmatism that you're talking about, are you suggesting that we have not been operating that way? We have been operating somewhat from a theoretical base. And I would be blunt and just tell you, yeah, we have been theorizing. And I think that's a process that we have to go through as a people. We have to go through a paradigm of theoretical conceptualization. But at some point, we have to get to a practical applicated paradigm. And see, I think that we right here on the precipice of that practical applicating paradigm. And Mississippi is the belly of our oppression. And just like the great teacher John Henry Clark said, we haven't responded to anything. So I think what's happening with the Black Liberation Movement, what's happening with Brother Malik, Zulu, Shabazz, and all the connections that's taking place now across the nation is what I call the divine synchronicity of our spirit, the divine synchronicity of our ancestral forces coming together to make a pragmatic push. And I myself is getting ready to put a book together, Domesticated Labor, Liberation in the Birth Canal. And it's to talk about that pragmatic push forward that we right here on the precipice of. But we're gonna have to define a territory. And I am of the belief that Mississippi is the belly of our suffering. And from Mississippi will come a spirit that will spark the pragmaticism where we begin to show the models to our nation, to our whole nation. We'll begin to show great model examples of what it takes to be a liberated people.
So you believe, that's excellent presentation. You believe that Mississippi could be a model for the nation within a nation concept?
Without a doubt.
You believe that Black people could exhibit a high form of self-determination by taking control of Mississippi? Is that true?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Okay, now we were just in Dallas, Texas at the new Black Panther Liberation Summit. We saw a lot of leadership come together, important leadership. And there's talks about coming to Mississippi in February. Talks about coming to Mississippi in February with the leadership of the liberation forces coming to Mississippi in a couple, perhaps in 2 or 3 months. If such occasion occurs and the focus of the Black movement turns to Mississippi and just say you all were a part of hosting these forces that came to Mississippi, what kind of progress could be made? What could you expect to occur, and what kind of progress could we make if this occurs?
It would be tremendous progress. And actually, I think it's the necessary step. It's the next step to take to show, because Brother Malik, I'm kind of reminded when you say when we convene something like that. You know, I'm on record of telling people, and it's kind of funny. I said, you know, I must be the wrong Patrick, because it was a white man named Patrick Henry that stated to a small group of white people at a particular time, in a setting like what you're talking about may be created in February, if we courageous enough to do it. He said, give me liberty, and liberty being the root word of liberation, or give me death. And from that statement came this nation that we continue to fight right now, which had become, you know, a white man's heaven from that statement. And when you're talking about bringing the brothers like what you had, the brothers and sisters like what you had in Dallas, Texas, and the reason why me and Babu Kamal in a small host of brothers here from Mississippi and Tennessee soldier to Dallas was because we felt like there were some brothers that need to be connected with. So we have to understand the divine order thing, you know, and we have to begin to realistically internalize that we are those gods that are to put this effort together. And somebody had to step out there on the forefront and go along with this universal energy, this divine force that's pushing the right men together. Like when those white men convened and made a determination to give me liberty or give me death. And so what Mississippi is standing on the forefront of is saying that we could be ground zero. I mean, we can be ground zero if somebody really looked at it and studied, you know, what it is that we have to do. At some point, even though we have a national idea, we're gonna have to situate ourselves and have a base somewhere. So we thinking that Mississippi is perfectly situated for that, and it don't make us no special people because we conveying it and because we here, but we talking about what's logical, what's real, and what's pragmatic.
All right, very good, my brother Patrick and brother Karriem. Brother Mukasa Ricks, have you left us? I saw him on earlier. You know, he's a
There
fighter. You still on, brother Mukasa? He is. I'm gonna ask him something. All right, maybe we'll get him back.
He's muted.
Oh, there you go.
There he is.
I was on mute.
Mukasa, my brother, thank you for staying in here for the second hour. I know you were on fire in the first hour. I know you was on fire. Did they have to call the fire department? No, but really, honestly, more than fire, you're a man of facts. As I've known and becoming known, you're a man of facts and fire. They're talking about Mississippi here. You're a Mississippi veteran.
I heard him talking about Mississippi.
What do you say about what they say about the potential of Mississippi?
Well, I got that potential about all African communities and Cuba and Venezuela and anywhere our people are. I see the same potential, but the only potential is that we're gonna have strength is we all come together and do what we got to do together. Mississippi can't do it by itself. The Black Panther Party can't do it by itself, but we all got to bring all our forces together, the gangs and the liberation movement, the PAC and the Palestinians, and all of us got to come together. But our fight is for the liberation of Africa. But we have to do it together. Now, all the different cities have their own personalities, or different states have their own personalities, but they all the same as African people struggling against this capitalistic, racist, and colonial system, and we all have to do it together. One person can't do it, one group can't do it.
All right, well, so let me focus in more now as a SNCC student, as a SNCC veteran, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. According to my reading of Brother Kwame Ture or Stokely Carmichael and your history, that you all believe that in states like Mississippi and Alabama, or in different counties, like where the Lowndes County Freedom Organization was started, that where Blacks existed or had a majority, that the effort should be for Blacks to take over the town, take over the sheriff's department, the mayor's office, the city council. Am I correct that those were some SNCC objectives in terms of their movement in the South, which was to, in areas of numerical majority for Blacks, to seize any instruments of power or as many institutions of power as possible? Am I correct when I state that as a SNCC objective?
We were organized in Black Belt areas of Mississippi, the Black Belt area of Alabama, and that's where the majority of Black people live. And we're going there and organizing. In the state of Mississippi, we built a state organization, the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, but we built local organization in every county also and created leaderships in those areas. And then when we was in Alabama, we built a lot of state organizations and the Lowndes County Freedom County organization also. And in the state, we had every county, we had organization, but in Lowndes County, in Greene County, and Tuskegee, we built the Black Panther Party. And that when we built the Black Panther Party, it was so deadly and they were so racist, we definitely picked up guns and defended ourselves, and we became known as the Black Panther Party. And we registered people to vote when they had killed Sammy Young and some of the others. We registered people to use that to motivate people to register to vote. And when they registered to vote, we took completely over some of those counties, 100%. Even Lowndes County, we took it over. In Greene County in Alabama, we took it over, and other counties. When we took them over, you still had the white man laws of sheriff, white man laws of whoever was in office had to carry the same laws. So you end up putting us in jail or doing the same thing basically what the other end was doing. And so what I think we made a mistake when we went out there for voting, the white folks had took thousands and thousands of acres of land from the Africans. So we should have took guns and went on them plantations and took over the whole county with guns. And then we could have built our own courthouse and schools and everything else. And after you got through voting, the same white people still had the land. So therefore they still had the power. They still had the whatever industry or factory that was there. And so we were still the poorest people. And it didn't do us no good. Just like in South Africa, we voted to get rid of apartheid and got Mandela out of jail. And but even though you got rid of apartheid, the white man still controlled the diamonds, the gold, the oil, the silver, the copper, the pearl, the cobalt. So they still rich and the Africans still poor. So in South Africa, they should have took the land like Idi Amin did in Uganda, get the hell out of here. Or like Mugabe was trying to do in Zimbabwe, get the hell out of here. This is our land and the land belongs to us, and take the land. So you can't have no freedom unless you take the land and go for real power, and just voting for some crackers and playing that game, you ain't getting nothing. Damn Democrats, Republicans, all of them in the same bed, and don't care which one you vote for. White folks gonna still have everything, factories in all of them, because all of them got the same boss man. And so we need land, and to make it big, we need the land of Africa, and we need to work to unite all of our people where they can take that land. That's why the new Black Panther Party is a liberation movement, and we got to link it with all the liberation movements, Palestine and all the liberation movements around the world, especially all the African liberation movements. And we come together and we can help each other and be a force and learn from each other. So I think it's a good step that the new Black Panther Party is definitely trying to link up with all the revolutionaries and what have you, and they come to a point that they know they can't do it by themselves. We all have to do it together. And I think that's what you were preaching last weekend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we appreciate it. We appreciated you and everyone that came to participate. Let me ask you this, Brother Kamal. You've heard what I'll say Professor Kamal Karriem, and you heard what Professor Ricks has said. He's a teacher. We have to respect our people, you know. And you've heard what Mr. Ricks has said about the strong progress that was made in Mississippi and Alabama.
No, he's talking now.
Yes, strong progress in Mississippi and Alabama. But he also critiqued some of the shortfalls, said we didn't have land control. Is it a way to pick up, is it a way to recapture the strength of what SNCC had built in the South, as well as correct the shortfalls? And I mean, was what Brother Mukasa say, how would you build on that right now, on the legacy that he's laid, and those who struggle with him laid? What would you do now?
My dear brother Malik, thank you for asking that question. A very good question. First of all, there's an old saying that we have to go back to the old landmark. What SNCC did, Kwame Ture and my dear beloved brother Mukasa Dada, all of what they did was very excellent and preliminary and an example of what we should be doing now. And I say that, Brother Malik, because we have to focus in on the Black township. And what I mean by that is there's many enclaves that have several hundred of Black people in the country, rural places where people have been living for years. We know where it's at, we know what it's called, but it's not on white people's radar or map. We're going to have to incorporate these places so that we would receive infrastructure, sewage, water for businesses, and create Black townships. We need to do this wherever there's a heavy total mass population of Black people, particularly in rural communities. And then with the formation of these Black townships, we have to get into being an intelligent electorate and having self-governance. And this can be done where we have our own form of government. We can even have our own political party to represent our ideologies, our type of education, our biological and political interests, and the protection of our community. We're talking about a white sheriff. Well, we can have Black law enforcement, our own law enforcement with Pan-Africanist ideology. So the scope is wide, but we have to go back to this concept of what Brother Dada talked about, what Kwame Toure and the members of SNCC did, but we have to personify it with the incorporation. And it's very simple to do. When you educate, you go in and you organize and educate these communities to what has to be done for the benefit of the infrastructure purposes, for the benefit of not having these corporations commit environmental racism on these communities by encroaching upon their property. It gives a protection against that. All you need is 51% of the vote, eligible voters in that particular area, to sign a petition declaring intent for a town or a municipal incorporation. And that puts us in a position to negotiate what goes in and out of our community, to market the resources in our community, whether it's timber, to control the zoning in our community, and to be autonomous, and as I said before, to have complete governance over our communities.
Pardon me. Thank you so much for your answer. I'm not going to keep us all night. This is an orientation, but this is an important orientation. I want to say to those that are watching that we are going to plan to get behind the Black Liberation Program in Mississippi. I want to give a shout out to Brother Lorenzo Sims. I want to give a shout out to Brother Vashawn Ferguson and others who are working throughout the state of Mississippi. Sisters and brothers, at this point, I think we're going to conclude for the evening. We're going to conclude for the evening, but we're coming back. We're going to come out with a schedule prior to next week, and we will be honored to have our brothers from the Black Liberation Movement to come and to teach the political education class. Brothers, why don't we just follow up on, I hate to book you up, but I mean, we could just follow up on this momentum and y'all can just take the next hour. 7 o'clock next Monday.
Yes,
you
sir.
can have that hour for political education and you'll have the whole show. You'll come on, it'll be your show. You can bring on the guests, you can show the exhibits. Because what I'm going to say to the movement and the Panther Party is, let's pay attention to Mississippi. Let's get behind the liberation program in Mississippi. Maybe Brother Lorenzo Sims from Youth Against Gang Violence or some others will come on, but it's your class. And we'd be honored if everyone will come back and refocus right here so we can learn. It'll be your class, not mine. And I just want to thank you because this is important as we try to build our movement. Okay, so I'm going to conclude. I want to thank you, Brother Mukasa Ricks, for staying on. You're a great inspiring force. I mean, all of us want to be as strong as you are when we get at that age range. I mean, and it's permissible for me to say a cancer survivor.
Cancer and some heart surgery too. And I've been shot a couple of times.
There's a power with you.
That power, yes,
there's
sir.
Power with you, and there's power.
Nat Turner, Mmoja, and
and there's a power.
Desaline, Bookman.
There's a positive power within you that keeps you going. I can see it, and I thank you so much, Brother Patrick. Man, it's an honor to struggle with you, sir. Look forward to hearing you next week. Chief Ngolo, we got to get you in the schedule here. And as we conclude here, Black Panther Liberation University, and to the administrators who are listening, let's go to work hard this week to put this program into effect. to put this class out, to get it right, to get ready for next week, and to let everybody know that this is an institution that we can count on. Black Panther Liberation School here at shabazzuniversity.com. All the greats will be on. Look, as we close, each of y'all, give me 5 books. Give me 5 recommended books for our audience who will study this tape. Give me 5 books, please. Go ahead, Baba Karriem.
Oh, I'm saying, and don't forget, you want a copy of the Black of our Pragmatic Nationalism, Barnes and Noble. You can get the ebook, or you can go to Amazon and you can get the ebook. It's very affordable. Or you want to talk about this pragmatic nationalism, you can email me at kkarriem@gmail.com. I thank you all, and may God Allah may bless each and every one of you all. Thank you.
Okay, Baba Mukasa, thank you so much. Your book is highly recommended. Recommended readings. I know you're all African People's Revolutionary Party. Work study, work study, work study. What are your top 5 recommended books from a legend?
Destruction of Black Civilization, The World in Africa, Kwame Nkrumah, Revolutionary Warfare, Lumumba, the Congo, written by Kwame Nkrumah, and Marcus Garvey, Garvey and Garveyism.
Go ahead.
There are many. We put together book lists, and hopefully we can come together on an agreed curriculum that would be very simple. And also, we need to put together a host of speeches that was given by Castro and revolutionaries that we can think of and have it where people can listen to tapes also and get it on the internet and whatever. We'll be educated. You go driving down the road, listening to Malcolm, Kwame Nkrumah, Lumumba, and other forces of the world.
And that's what we will do. We will.
And also, I want to, at some point, it's a liberation movement that's going on in Guinea-Bissau that I be working with. And I was like, brother Imani knows over in Guinea-Bissau, they got a group PAIGC, and they've been fighting revolution for a while. And when they win an election, they go and drop bombs on them and take the government back and all kind of other stuff. But we got revolution going on all over the world, and we want to put all them revolutionary and liberation movements together. And they got a great ideological and educational program that they be doing with the masses. And hopefully we can get some of y'all to go over there and stay for about 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, so you're saying these are you talking about the descendants of the movement of Amilcar Cabral.
Amilcar Cabral,
Yeah.
the PAIGC, yeah. He was assassinated in 1971.
And
by the CIA.
And are they still going strong?
Oh, very strong. I was just up in there not long ago, right before the pandemic.
How do you suggest? I mean, what is your suggestion?
Well, we're gonna hook it up with you, hook the group up, and hopefully I get one of the brothers out, one of the leaders out that movement to come on the air and talk one day, and we'll build a brother relationship with the new Black Panther Party with this group.
Okay.
I'm gonna hook y'all up together, and then they can hook you up with they got contact with other liberation movements that they come together in different parts of the world, and hopefully we have representatives from this party at the next liberation group that they meet wherever they meet in Ghana or wherever it is.
Good. And these are things that we must do. We must go, and I guess you'll guide us through the west coast of Africa.
Well, I work with you, and I need guide myself.
Well, it's a lot. It's a lot, and I'm so excited. We cap it right there. Thank you for all of you greats for coming on the line. We'll see you all next Monday. I want to say here to make a final.
Brother Malik,
yes,
Brother
sir.
Malik, you didn't let me get my 5 books, brother.
My bad.
I just want to get my 5 books.
My bad. Go ahead. Go right ahead, King.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate you for letting me be a part of the panel with these esteemed elders. But I did want to give my 5 books. Number 1, Pragmatic Nationalism by our Counselor General, Kamal Karriem. Number 2 book, We Will Shoot Back by Baba Akinyele Mmoja,
Black
the
Power.
armed resistance struggle in Mississippi and the fighters that shot back.
That's right.
The Devil You Know by our brother Charles Blow, a Black Power manifesto, which speaks very powerfully to what it is we're talking about the reverse migration process and building Black power in the South. The Book of College by Malik Zulu Shabazz Esquire, my brother, that's so esteemed and powerful in this moment in time in our paradigm. And I want to put an old one out there. They Came Before the Mayflower by our brother LaRon Bennett, who is also a native Mississippian from Clarksdale, Mississippi. And I will say this pertaining to the elders, because I always take and internalize what my elders are saying. I heard about Mukasa Ricks, and I hear my Baba elder, Kamal Karriem. Liberation is not an event, it is a process.
That's right.
It is a process. And it's not that we lack the intelligence to carry that process through, is whether or not we have the will and the courage. So yes, sir. I thank you all for having us on tonight. And I thank you for the time that you've given us and the time that you're gonna allow us to have to talk more extensively about the process and what it is that we're doing. Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much. And you guys are awesome. You're great. Everybody in the listening audience, share this video. We're going to share it. We're going to reproduce it. We're going to email it. We're going to preserve it. We're going to build this platform. We're going to build this platform. Okay, so that's it. Next Monday at 6 o'clock Eastern. 6 o'clock Eastern will be economic development class. 7 o'clock Eastern will be political education class. This one next week will be taught by the Black Liberation Movement right here. At 8 o'clock, we'll be back here for current events, national and international current events. I'll be your host. My name, I'll be teaching the class. I'm Malik Zulu Shabazz. At 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 Central, next Monday is Black Manhood Training for young Black males. Black Manhood Training for young Black males. That means all Black men up to age of 40 years old. At 10 o'clock, hopefully at 10 o'clock, we have Defense and Survival Training class starting at 10 o'clock next Monday. That's Black Liberation University at ShabazzUniversity.com. I thank you all for your time. Black unity, Black love, and Black power. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Black power.
Great.
Black power.
Honor.